Welcome to the Brad and Taylor Show. Today we have Maggie Gerich.
You're listening to The Brad and Taylor Show, a podcast that inspires entrepreneurs to pursue their passions. We're sitting down with some of the best to learn how they got started and some lessons they learned along the way.
Hey, Maggie.
Hi, thank you so much for the invitation.
Of course.
So what exactly do you do?
I'm an associate broker in the greater Lansing area, and I run a team. We've got 4 agents and full-time administrative staff.
Nice, that's awesome. So when you were younger, is this what you had planned when you grew up, or what was your plan?
No, I think I was going to be a veterinarian. And then when I started in college, I was going to be a family therapist, which you kind of are when you sell real estate.
Gotcha. Yep. That's true. So how did you go from, did you go into school for that at all? Or,
No, no, I was going, I initially started with the idea of getting a social work degree or a psychology degree, which works out great in this industry. And then decided that maybe I wanted to be an accountant instead, which also works great
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
industry. And then found myself bartending and waiting tables and met someone who was recently licensed and really liked it and said that they were hiring an admin for their team. And that's how I met the broker that I started working for. And I worked for him for 9 years as an administrative support person and helping him with just with closing transactions and all that sort of thing. And he was actually one of the top foreclosure brokers in Lansing. And I started in 2003 with him. So we went all the way through the foreclosure boom together.
Yeah, that's awesome. Especially if he's the best one, then of course you're doing pretty good there. Worked out pretty well for you. That's awesome. So how did you make, so you said you talked to the agent that was kind of getting into it then. Like what did you just, I guess you said you went to do the administrative stuff. So when did you decide you wanted to do just being an agent, like on
Just
your
to
own
be an
and kind of do
agent.
that?
So I really like the administrative side. I like the paperwork. I really like spreadsheets. But it was when you started talking with the actual clients. Also, the foreclosures were fine. You got into a system and you figured it out, but it's sad and it's depressing and it's, because that's people's homes. So to be able to work with buyers and to see their excitement and to be part of the good news, that was like, oh, this job can give me life and a paycheck. That's when it started, and I really wanted to transition into just sales and not assistant work.
Yeah. So then you ended up, cause you said you have a team now. When did you hire on your first team member?
So my entrance into the team is a little bit, it's different than how it is for most people. So I went from the team with the foreclosure team to another small brokerage, and it wasn't a good fit. I wasn't there for more than a year, and I interviewed. I knew that there was this just really, really respected agent back at the initial company at Remax
Yeah.
that I'd started out with initially, and she was looking for a new agent to join her. And I interviewed, and it was a good fit, and that's Robin Flanders, and we've been together now for, almost 7 years, I think.
Wow. Yeah. Cause every
And
time I've
yeah,
known you,
so
all I've known is
yeah,
you're with her.
2 years ago, she decided that it was time for her to transition out as team lead, and that was the plan. That when she was ready to transition out, I would transition in. So I
Mhm.
came in already with the team in place.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That's
so
awesome. Good for you.
yeah,
Nice. Do you guys have any plans to grow your team more?
it's always an option. We just hired on a new agent at the beginning of this year, and she's doing amazing. It's what I want for our team, though, is I want it to be like a family. I want it to feel very close knit and just like a really, really good, tight meshed team.
Mhm.
So I'm very particular about when the right time is to open the door to someone else and who that other person, there are some teams out there that are just like, nope, come on in, try it
Yeah.
out, see if it
Take them
works.
all.
Um, and what I'm looking for is someone that will stay with us long term to really be able to help them see their professional arc.
Mhm.
Because I think that's like the natural progression for for agents, if you want to grow your team, you figure out
Yeah.
like, okay, how do I work with a buyer? Okay, how do I work with a seller? And then the next step is, okay, how do I really run this as a business? Um, which can include taking on agents and helping them
Yeah.
create their dreams and
That's
and
awesome.
watching them come through true for them.
Yeah, for sure. When you first started out in real estate, was there any advice that you were given that has just kind of stuck with you throughout the years?
Um, it's just keep moving. It's like spinning plates. And as long as you have enough in the air, it's okay if a few of them fall. And something that I've always tried to follow and then also encourage our agents to really consider is, the second that you need the second that I need something to close, like for the paycheck, is the second that you are no longer an effective agent for your client. So you just can't need the money. Um, it's because it's not about you
Yeah.
Right.
at all.
Yep.
It's all about the client.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell us about one of the worst properties you've shown.
So I thought about a lot about this and I had several that I considered, but my husband said that this was the best one. So it was, I was working with an investor and he wanted to see this place. It was in Langsburg. And when we pulled up, there's just like a ton of chickens and turkeys and stuff in the road. And I was like, oh, okay.
What do we get into?
There's like, yeah, like an old farm stand and stuff. And um, it was an elderly woman who'd recently moved out to assisted living. I don't know how long she'd been out of the house, but this was like in the peak of summer. So imagine the heat and the humidity and all of that. So we walk into the house and it's this little 1900s ranch, just a small 2-bedroom, like with carpeted kitchen and that kind of thing.
Wow.
But also it was stacked from floor to a higher than my head. And I'm 5'8", so it's pretty good stacks of stuff. Of boxes and National Geographics
Wow.
and bags. And it was just a path. It was just, you could barely get through just this path. And when you walked through, you could hear things rustling
Oh
all
my.
Oh
around
no.
here, like just all the animals and wildlife that had taken up residence in the house. Um, and it was sad because like there was a path to the kitchen and to the bathroom and the bedroom,
Yeah.
and like half of the bed was uncovered of stuff. And then when we got to the basement, it was, you ever had a potato go bad in your house?
Yep. Yep.
You know that smell?
Yep.
So she ran a produce stand outside of her house, and there were a lot of potatoes and onions and yogurt that were in the basement that she was keeping down there that had gone completely rancid.
Ah.
Um, so that by far was the worst house I've ever been in.
Well, did they put an offer in on
They
it?
did.
They
They
did?
did, but they did not end up buying it.
Yeah.
Oh.
After inspections, they were like, "Oh, nope." I think there was arsenic in the well, and they're like, "Yeah, that's too much for us."
Yeah. The inspector's probably like, how am I going to get through this house? Like, how am I going to see this?
He said, well, and so it was a guy that's been around forever who I think he just retired in the last couple years. He said, "This is literally the worst house that I've ever been in,"
Wow.
which I think is saying something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, especially because they go inspect a lot of crazy stuff, even not
Right.
just the good stuff. They go to all the stuff too. So that's awesome. So well, let's say you had to start all over today, and you only had $1,000. How would you spend that first $1,000?
Um, I would just spend it on oh gosh. So you've got a couple different options.
Uh-huh.
The Sphere stuff, like just to reach out to the people that you know and love, I think I would split it
Mhm.
partially there just to let everybody know what you're doing now. And then I would spend the rest of it. And I know that this is controversial right now with some choices that some companies are making, but I'd use the other half to buy some leads.
Got it.
Um,
Yep.
yeah.
Hey, whatever works. As long as you
Right.
get some money in the door, right? That's awesome.
Is there any good business books that you've read over the years that you could recommend to anybody starting out in the business?
One of my favorites was It Starts With Why by
Mhm.
Simon Sinek. And then also last year I read Dare to Lead by Brene Brown.
Haven't
And
read
that's
that one.
something just for myself working on growing as a leader. I'm reading more of those now.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's your favorite part about being in real estate?
Every day is different. And honestly, it's also the people. We are so fortunate to be able to get to know people on this super intimate level, like, right away.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how much we know about our clients within the first few days, and just after observing how people live in their homes, because if you work somewhere and you just see people at work, like, you don't know how they live,
Yeah.
but this is just such a different experience. So that's the most rewarding and challenging part of it at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think your schooling kind of goes back with this a lot and is super helpful, especially this year with the psychology. That is
Mhm.
so helpful.
Yeah.
You can see everything from a different perspective, I bet. It's like the most.
It's nice. Well, and, yeah, it's good to really think and to take a step back because,
Mhm.
like, there's, like, what that, triangle of, like, most stressful events that anybody can do, and, like, moving and buying a house is up there. So, you're seeing people at their max stress level. They're spending more money than they've ever spent before, which makes a lot of people strange. And then also this huge life change. So it takes a lot of, I don't know, observation and just making sure that you're a good listener to know, because sometimes people say something, but that's not what they mean because they're saying it out of a stress level response.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
That's awesome. Hey, thanks for coming on and sharing your story with us today.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much again for having me. This was fun.
Are these working?
All right. Is your-
Here we
Oh,
go.
there we go. I think they're working. Should we tell
Oh,
them?
mine keeps falling. It doesn't like my voice.
What do we got to tell them?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. What do we got to point at? Hey, I think there's a subscription button, like,
It might be. It might be there
might be right there too,
somewhere.
somewhere.
Find it. It's red.
Yeah. And it's
Red.
blue. It's green. I don't really know.
It's a color.
This mic isn't even attached. Did you plug these in? Well, I guess,
I wonder if they can hear us.
yeah. I wonder if they hear us. Well, we should probably tell them if they can hear us. We should probably tell them also give us a 5-star review if they're listening on Apple. That'd be cool.
5
5-star
stars,
review.
guys.
Share it with everybody they can think of.
We won't take
But-
4 stars.
I mean, Taylor, I don't even think these are on. I mean,
No, I don't think this is working.
This is not working.